Dolly and her husband. May you please come forward. Why should spouse be behind? Please, please. Come. We welcome all of you to this beautiful day of a very precious moment in all of our lives. Indresh ji, you have met Mummy.
The nation is celebrating 75th Azadi Amrit Mahotsav. The struggle for freedom. It has so many unique incidents. One of the unique incidents is 1942 August Kranti, Ballia Revolution. In the eyes of Britishers, it is Ballia Bagawat. Or in our eyes, it is not a Bagawat, it is a revolution. For the 14 days, Ballia remained independent. The great work done by Jagdishwar Nigam, and that was highlighted in the form of a book by his daughter. And now daughter is not but their daughters. They are celebrating this function. I salute the great freedom fighters, those who struggled and those who laid down their lives. उन सबको शत नमन है. Because their sacrifices and struggle, we got independence, either in the form of a division, but we got freedom. We pledge and we assure all the martyrs that they thought of the Akhand Bharat. I hope so. That can be achieved. So the श्रद्धांजलि उन सब महापुरुषों और वीरों को दी जा सके जिसके लिए उन्होंने अपना जीवन ले डाउन किया. इन्हीं शुभकामनाओं के साथ सबको मार्टियर्स हैं उनको श्रद्धांजलि, और जो कार्यक्रम में आए हैं उनको हैप्पी इंडिपेंडेंस डे, आज़ादी का 75वां अमृत महोत्सव बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं, बधाई.
जय भारत. Indresh, it is always a great pleasure to meet you, and we now request you to
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really delighted to be here to hear about this nice book. Thank you very much.
Interesting. Very happy that you came to share with us our 75 years of independence. India is fascinating.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I will again see the part of the British history, which is, I think something everyone has to know to understand India. Yes, this is the point for our Europeans to understand it, Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. It's indeed a great pleasure to have you. And now you're a part of our Indian history with that.
I'm delighted to be here amongst friends. It's a great pleasure. I'm looking forward to hearing more about the book and the glorious history of India.
Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Marva? Yes, from our Indo-Montenegro Cultural Society, we have Mr. Marva here from Marva Studios. Would you like to say a few words, please, before we begin the program?
Oh, for sure. I can only say that this is a wonderful occasion where I think you both sisters have decided to extend your gratitude towards the nation, especially on this beautiful time when we are all celebrating the Amrit Mahotsav, Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav, and you've done a remarkable job. I have a lot to say actually about you both sisters, and especially Sheila Darbari, your mother, because I've been hearing those stories from her directly. And I must admire that you have captured and unfold all those stories. Otherwise, all these stories would have been died with time. And you have brought history back to the table, which is a fantastic job, an unbelievable thing what you've done. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your praises. But yes, it was a little difficult journey because putting all the stories together and then putting it in the context of today's India and how we all as Indians or as leaders of the world can learn from the administrators how to bring about peace, love and harmony.
Absolutely.
So when you're talking about administrators, let me take you all to Rashmi ji. She is one of our great administrators of India, an I.S. officer of which batch? 82 batch. Of the 82 batch, and she gave us a beautiful forward note about in the book. You're going to read about it. So Rashmi, we're going to have you on stage. But as we are live streaming, we want our audiences all over the world and also in Montenegro, they'll be watching. Very nice. So we want everybody to know that we have such a great and wonderful administrator with us. Thank you. And one more thing I'd like to tell you is Mr. Naveen Verma, her husband, was the one who interacted with my mother first and said, "You have a great story to tell." And he really encouraged her, inspired her, and they both come together and put the blueprint together. But he's not here with us today, but still. I'm representing him also. Yes. So I would like to say 3 cheers for the Verma family. I'm really delighted to be here today, and it's such a wonderful event, and we all feel as if we have become part of the history, you know? And you have made the whole event and the story totally immortal. Welcome once again. They'll be here. Godfrey, welcome. Welcome, Your Excellency, welcome. We're going to ask you to say a few words before we seat you.
Well, what am I supposed to say? Well, I'm glad to be here. And I just didn't need even to contemplate coming here. It was quite obvious. Janis is a very good friend of mine. The Honorable Consul, Dr. Janis Darbar, is a very good friend of mine. And of course, as a crossover from colonial servitude to an independent Zimbabwe, I can identify with the history of India and of course of your family, and in particular your dear father, a hero and a champion of freedom. I thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. His Excellency, we take an honor and we will be inviting you on the stage to say a few words later on. As it is live streaming, this is a welcome.
It's a
Welcome
pleasure to be here with
our
you, sir.
guest.
My name is Mateja Vriposh, Ambassador of Slovenia.
The Ambassador of Slovenia. I have been to Slovenia, you know that. I lived in Yugoslavia for many, many years. So welcome, and please sit down, and we'll be starting the program soon. Thank you.
India and Zimbabwe have excellent relations, dating back to our days when we were struggling for independence. And we know that it required assistance and solidarity from friends like India. And I know that we have our forebears, his father, who fought for freedom, from which we culled ideas and also became a free nation. It's a pleasure to be here. Many thanks, sir.
Let me add one thing, Godfrey.
One moment to repeat that, please.
Ajmer Bahut Kush Home.
आपका बहुत-बहुत स्वागत.
Like
Hi,
to
Fabian. How are you?
My dear author.
Oh, that's wonderful. This is a book written by K.P. Fabian. He is a colleague and a former diplomat. Mr. Fabian, tell us more about yourself.
Well, as I was saying, I don't want to repeat myself. My last posting was ambassador to Italy. That was in the last millennium, and I got out this millennium, early millennium. But very kind of you to have invited me to this function.
Mr. Fabian, you are an author. I am honored that you have come. And in fact,
You have held the flag of India so proudly in so many countries. Could you tell our audience which countries?
Thank you. I'm sorry to be talking about myself, but I started in Madagascar in 1965, and most of the people here are born after that. Then to Vienna. Well, anyone from Central Europe, ich bin Wahlwiener. Ich spreche nur Wahlwienerisch, keine Hauptdeutsch.
Okay.
Then Iran, where I saw the revolution, 76, 79. When I went there, the Shahanshah was at the height of his glory. Before I left, I was looking for a roof.
Okay.
From Iran to Sri Lanka, then to Canada, Finland, first posting as ambassador, then back to Delhi, joint secretary Gulf. Saddam Hussein has a picnic, and there is, evacuation. Only 176,000 by air. And then what did I do? Then I went to Doha, Qatar, and then to Italy. Then I came back.
So you have seen world history in the making. You happened to be there when it happened. So that's a very, very valuable person who's attending this particular book release. Your thoughts and your criticism, both are welcome.
Thank you so much.
I'm coming from Bosnia and Herzegovina. This is my country. I represent Bosnia and Herzegovina and India and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and Nepal. And to some Darbaris here.
You see, Excellency, we are actually live streaming it. So I'm quite sure our audience all around the world, they would like to know something more about Bosnia.
Yeah. Bosnia is a small country, 51,000 square kilometers, with bit long history, and long history means you need long time to talk, but about that history.
Janice, put the mic closer.
We are part of Balkan area, and once it was Yugoslavia, and Yugoslavia and India, they were founder countries of non-aligned movement, and this was a time that put some strong ties between peoples of that area and Indians. So we are all who are coming from ex-Yugoslavian countries here to India, we are using this legacy, and with I think proper cause, and we are strengthening our ties on that basis. Yeah.
We all know you're an excellent photographer. In fact, a few days ago, Meenakshi Lekhi, our cultural minister, she inaugurated your photo exhibition. And I saw that you have taken photographs of trees all over India. And please tell me, what inspired you?
You know, some of our colleagues here in Delhi, once we were passing through streets in Delhi, and where I think 3 diplomats in car, and one of them mentioned that, told us that here in Delhi you can find a lot of trees, and this is one of the advantages of this city and Indians who are caring about trees, you know. Trees are a connection between trees and people is also very long and very essential, you know. There is no guru who didn't spend some time beneath tree. So this is something that human wisdom is in connection with trees, and if I may say, wisdom that trees are having.
And you also went to the Kumbh Mela, and you have taken beautiful photographs of the Kumbh Mela. Please tell us your experience.
Yeah, it happened when I just arrived to India in end of 2018, and the Kumbh Mela was coming in the beginning of 19. So once I realized that it is going to be big Kumbh Mela, I found that there is no any other opportunity to attend this huge gathering and take photos. So if I miss that opportunity, I surely couldn't have any other. So I went there, and fortunately I had lucky enough to take good photos for one exhibition. And it was here in Delhi, in Noida, and in Kolkata.
I know, Excellency, I myself have seen some of those photographs, and they're absolutely extraordinary. The aerial views which you have taken of the Kumbh Mela are indeed, I think everybody should go down and have a look at your exhibitions. And now how do you, what do you plan to do?
What I'm planning to do here?
Yeah, not here, Excellency. I think in the future with your photography world.
I think if I'm lucky enough, I would have another exhibition in the end of the year. So 3 exhibitions for one tenure, it will be too much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Thank you. His Excellency, the Ambassador of Bosnia-Herzegovina.
By the way,
great revolutionary program, the Revolution of Ballia, and you are giving an honor to all the sacrifices.
Welcome,
best and the struggle which fought by the Indians. All the best.
Where the sacrifice was a guidance for other people and us too. Thank you.
For all.
Nalini Singh. You're looking.
Here, introduce the camera.
One more.
Oh, well.
Nalini is... she is one of the shakers in society, right? Let me introduce you to, Indian Sheikh. Yeah.
I am Basim from Palestinian Embassy.
Joining the great freedom struggle warriors, giving them a respect, honor for their sacrifices. So most welcome and many, many thanks. Celebrating the sacrificing of Ballia Kranti. Chittu Pandey, Jagdishwar Nigam.
Yes.
Palestine is great friends with India. I had the privilege of interviewing Yasser Arafat. And in fact, when we wrote about him, we said he has taken on to blossom a rose in a desert. So hi, how are you, our Honorary Consul General? Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Thank you for coming. Tell us something about your beautiful country.
We are in the South Pacific, and what else you want to know? It's an island country.
And how have you gone about developing relations between India and Togo?
I think we have a very long relationship, in various fields. A lot of our people come here for training, and we are trying to have a bilateral trade also. Okay.
I also see that when people are in trouble, as an Honorary Consul General, you are at it, Excellency. I really congratulate you. I've seen you spearheading with the Ministry of External Affairs certain problems and trying to find their solutions.
Thank you, Dr. Dabak.
Please tell us a little bit more about that.
What do you want to know?
How have you helped your people to solve the problems when they're in trouble?
All the time, you see, when the people come here, all sorts of things, whatever help they need, we provide them. They need extension of visas, they need to go to educational institutions, training, and recently when they were held up due to the COVID, we helped them with the help of Government of India. Oh yes, and we are recent. We had a volcano, you know, a very big volcano, undersea volcano, and then we, Government of India, helped them, you know, and we coordinated that.
Well, it's a very privileged position because on one side you are absolutely Bharatiya, you hold the Indian flag. On the other end, I'm proud that you hold the flag of
Tonga. Thank you.
Tonga.
Tonga also.
And madam, you are his wife. You're a very charming lady. So please tell us how you help your husband.
So all his mail and everything, like a secretary, when it comes to home, because of COVID, I was just acting as a personal secretary to him.
So that's how the Honorary Consul Generals managed to hold the two flags, and brilliantly with their wives, their families, everybody helping them. After all, it is honorary.
To be here on this important event and looking forward to the release of the book. Thank you.
He is the Honorary Consul General of Tonga.
Many thanks to you also to receive you. कैसे हैं?
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका यहाँ आने के लिए और आपसे मिलकर बहुत खुशी हुई. Thank you.
With all welcomes. Many thanks.
Country है टोंगा, ऑस्ट्रेलिया के पास उसे रिप्रेजेंट करता हूँ. Thank you. As a head of diplomatic mission, honorary consul.
He is our great friend of Macedonia, His Excellency.
Macedonia, second term in India, so I know India well. Please.
Only one. How are you?
When we do the releasing, you'll be doing
India is like second home to me. Unfortunately, I don't speak Hindi, but oh, yes, respectful, yeah. Definitely. Have you been to that part of Europe? Balkan? No. Please welcome, visit us sometime. Thank you.
Mr. Singh from Ballia. We are honored to have with us the Member of Parliament. He is from Ballia. He represents the constituency of Ballia. वीरेंद्र जी, कुछ दो शब्द बोलिए.
मैं बलिया से लोकसभा सांसद हूँ. देश 1947 में आज़ाद हुआ था, लेकिन बलिया 1942 में ही आज़ाद हो गया था. और उस समय के डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट निगम साहब होते थे. आप लोगों ने जो निगम साहब के स्मृति में पुस्तक लिखी है, मुझे गर्व है कि मेरी जन्मभूमि बलिया है और वहाँ का मैं लोकसभा का सांसद हूँ. और 1942
अब बाकी कहानी स्टेज पे.
मुझे इस बात का भी गर्व है कि मैं भाई इंद्रेश जी जैसे मार्गदर्शक के मार्गदर्शन में कार्यकर्ता की तरह काम किया.
What a beautiful thought, Indresh ji. India is very grateful to you. Mr. Subhash Goyal is very well known in the international field of tourism. We knew him as a young student leader, and he was there with my brothers in the Delhi University, always raising a cause. And now he has very, very vibrantly raised the cause for tourism, and we hope with his presence here, we will now take Ballia onto the tourism map, and I'm going to catch you on that. Would you like to say a few words?
I think it is a great honor to be part of this, book launch, because I know the Darbari family. I knew your father, your mother, and everyone. And I knew your brother when I was president of Delhi University Students' Union. So I've written a book on poverty eradication and economic development through tourism. And I feel that Ballia, historically, you know, is the first place where the freedom movement of India was launched. And somehow it has not got the importance which Ballia needs. And I think the entire freedom movement started from Ballia. And Ballia should be mentioned in all our history books. And I'm sure that your book would be a reference. And people, all historians will look at it not only in India, but all over the world. And I can assure you that I will sit with you one-to-one. एंड मे बी आप वहाँ के जो मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हैं उनके साथ कि क्या क्या चीज़ें हम मार्केट कर सकते हैं बलिया के बारे में। एक तो जो फ्रीडम मूवमेंट स्टार्ट हुई दैट इटसेल्फ इज़ अ बिग थिंग, बट उसके अलावा और क्या क्या चीज़ें वहाँ पर हो सकती हैं। एंड वी कैन हैव अ स्मॉल कमेटी विद द मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट एंड आवर फॉर्मर secretary is there for tourism, one of the most dynamic secretaries we've had. So let us all get together and
some of our diplomats.
Yes, why not? Why? The European Union ambassador is here and so many other ambassadors are here. So I think let us start a new revolution and make, you know, Ballia as the starting point for the Indian freedom movement. So India got freedom in 1942.
Yeah.
And and 47 it was only handing over.
Yes.
It was
exactly.
not a fight for freedom. Whereas in Ballia was the real revolution and the real fight for freedom.
And as you say, here we have Aditi, she's been the DM. Yes.
Oh my God, what a young beautiful DM. So you should, we would like you to say something about Ballia.
Please.
Because all of us, the ambassadors here, and I am from the tourism industry, and we have the former Secretary of Tourism, Government of India. And how can we make Ballia not only a starting point for, you know, the Indian history, the freedom movement, but also how can we market it purely from the tourism point of view.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I didn't expect to enter the hall and immediately be put on the spot. Your Excellencies, all esteemed guests and dignitaries present here. First of all, I'd like to thank Ms. Darbari for inviting me to this wonderful program. I got to know her because I was posted as District Magistrate Ballia last year from January of 2020 till January of this year. And because of her, I also got to learn about the history of my district much more, because I was officiating there in that post where her ancestors have been, and they have contributed so greatly to the rich history of that district. As you would have already been informed, that this district had declared independence in 1942 on the 8th of August. That's when the Quit India movement call was given by Gandhiji. And Ballia continues to be a very remotely located area of Uttar Pradesh. It is economically not so developed as yet right now because of a lot of geographical, topographical and locational disadvantages. As far as the accessibility goes, it is still a challenge, although the government has made new roads there, so things are going to improve in the coming years. However, geographically, there are 5 rivers that go through that district, and it is very flood prone, and that obviously creates a lot of economic hardships for the people. So whatever we can do, as we are doing through this, more awareness, more investment efforts, more people coming in to invest, because there's a lot of people from Ballia who have gone across the world and are doing wonderfully well. So it's nice to go back to the roots and give back to the motherland and not just the home district. And it's a privilege to be here. As far as tourism goes, because Ballia is close to Shravasti, Gaya, all these areas which are very important from the Buddhist circuit point of view. So this could be a major meeting point for people traveling from UP towards Bihar or from Bihar towards UP who are covering those destinations. And there's so much more. I do not want to take too much time and disturb the schedule of today's program. I hope I was a little informative as you wanted me to be. And if there's anything else, I'll be happy to answer any queries informally.
5 rivers is a big opportunity for tourism.
Yes.
So I won't
And
call
Government
them,
of India is
yeah.
developing the
I
waterways
think
there
let's
from
look-
Banaras to
yes.
Ballia to Patna. So
Yes.
that will also herald better times,
think, yeah,
more economic
we can
development.
start river cruises.
Absolutely, it's on the cards.
It's on the cards. And may I say one thing? Aditi is one person, she is a doer. As she's amazing. When I just rang her up, in a few moments she said, you will have the photographs of the magistrate's office, the collectorate, where everything took place. And she took it by the drone. And I got lovely aerial photographs. And it's all in the book. So we have her live here. Thank you. Thank you,
You're very
Aditi.
kind. And you forgot to mention that you're my senior from college.
Oh, yes.
That is a much more important connect, Lady Shriram. Thank you so much.
Sriram always shows up talent. Let me introduce you to our chief guest. She is Aditi. She's a very dynamic person. She's now posted in
On which post you were? I.C.S. हमारी रीतु महेश्वरी भी उधर ही कहीं है ऐसे Okay, all the best.
She's
How
one
are
of
you?
the dynamic young women. She runs the family.
अच्छा. All the best and all the blessings.
Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Slovenia.
Parliament member.
And my husband.
Please say a few words on your posting to India and your marriage to an Indian guy.
Oh, well, I met my better half 25 years ago in Japan, so it was not really India connected, but ever since then I am connected to India, and I'm enjoying my time here. It's my third posting. I came first as political counselor, as an economic counselor, and now as an ambassador, and it's really my privilege and honor to be here and serve in this beautiful country.
It's our experience and great honor that a very experienced person is here. We hope to develop very great ties between India and Slovenia. Her Excellency, she is the Ambassador of Slovenia.
Most welcome in this. Oh, बहुत स्वागत है आप लोगों का. Many thanks to you. You joined to celebrate the independence of the nation. You are joining to celebrate the independence of the nation. So we welcome you.
Thank you.
Well, one thing I must disclose, he is my neighbor. He stays in Greater Kailash, and he's been here for a few months, and it's now on us to make him feel at home in India. So let me introduce him to our Member of Parliament also. May I introduce you? Then I'll just do.
पार्लियामेंट मेंबर हूँ बलिया से.
Yeah, I mean, all know each other. May I introduce all of you to a very special friend. Please say a few words.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. We say in Arabic, Sabba khair, Salam alaikum, Sasrikar, Namaskar. Good morning to everybody. Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Wail Awad. I'm a senior international journalist based in India for the last 4 decades. So I think I Indianized myself more than being a Syrian. So I have lived in, and good to recognize nice faces around us. I've been associated with Mrs. Janis and for long years. I mean, I'm not a diplomat, but being in the diplomatic circuit, I'll always see her activity in the social also, and the NGOs and all her work. And that's make me, even I came yesterday only from my long trip, I couldn't miss this opportunity because it's always a pleasure to have the sisters around. We've been encouraging her to finish the book as soon as possible, and I'm very glad to be part of this function. I'm very glad to be part of this distinguished guests, and have a nice day today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. He's been with our family.
मिलना चाहिए कि ज़रूर बहुत हमारे मेहमान हैं, बहन हैं, उनके साथ के लिए बहुत अच्छा है, आपकी मिलनी चाहिए। और बहुत इंडिया के लिए सेलिब्रेशन को कंग्रेचुलेशन। तो इंडिया में तो आज का तो इनका सेलिब्रेशन 75 ईयर्स ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंट ऑल्सो। जय हिंद।
बधाई और धन्यवाद for celebration of the independence and their struggle.
The last 40 years I am here, so I think I came as a student to India 20 years ago. 40 years ago, studied in India, studied in Britain also, continue my residing in India for years. So I made India my home. Because in Syria it is Surya, and Surya in Sanskrit is the sun, so the sun rises from Syria. So that's where India and Syria connected.
भारत जो है वो भी पूरब में ही माना जाता है।
This is her brother.
रिजाइडिंग इन दिल्ली। स्वागत है, करते जाइए। मेरा CS से बहुत प्रेम रहा है, क्योंकि मेरा जो सबसे छोटा भाई जो है ना, विनोद, उसने CA और CS किया हुआ है, बेज इन हरियाणा कैथल कुर्ग।
Well, as the world connects with each other, today I hope you all know each other in the audience, and that is why we have had this little welcome and asking each Excellency to speak a few words.
ओम मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुड़ध्वज मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्ष मंगलाय तनोहरि। ओम सिंदूरारुण विग्रहां तिनणम मणिकमौलि अस्फुर तारणायक शेखराम अश्मित मुखीन मापीन बक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यां मलिपुरच्चस्कं रक्तोत्पलं विवृतिं सौम्यार्तघटशरणां ध्यात प्राम्बिकां अरुणां करुणां तरंगिताक्षे धृत पाशांकुशपुष्पाण चापां अणिमादिभ्राभृतां मयूखरमत विभाव भवानीं ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्तां वीक्षित बदनां पदं पत्रायताक्षीं हेमाम्भां पीतवस्त्रां करकलितलसितभुवां वरांगीं सर्वालंकारयुक्तां सततां अभयदां भक्तनम्रां भवानीं श्रीविद्यां शांतिमूर्ति सकलशूर्णुतां सर्वसंप्रदात्रीं सुकुंकुमबिल्पेन मलिकचुम्बकस्तूर्कां समन्दिशतीक्ष्णां ससर्चापाशांकुशां आशीष जनमोहिनी मारुणमालभूषाम्बरां जपाकुसुम्बासुरां जप विध्वस्वरंदिकां ओम लम पृथुतत्वात्मिका ललिता दिव्य गंधम परिकल्पयामि हम आकाश देवतां ललिता दिव्यम पुष्पम समर्पयामि। ओम सिंदूरारुण विग्रहां त्रिणम मणिकमौलि अस्फुरा तारणायक शिखरां अश्मित मुखीन मापीन वक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यां मलपुरच्चस्कं रक्तोत्पलं विवृतिं सौम्यार्तघटशरणां ध्यात प्राम्बिकां अरुणां करुणां तरंगिताक्ष धृतपाशांकुशपुष्पाण चापां अणिमादिभ्राभृतां मयूखरमत विभाव भवानीं या श्रीश्वं सुकृतनां भवनेषु लक्ष्मी पापात्मनां कृतधियां हृदयेषु बुद्धि श्रद्धाशतां कुलजन प्रवश्य लज्जा नतां त्वम् अस्मा परिपाल देव विश्वं देवी प्रपन्नाति हरे प्रसीद प्रसीद मातर जगतोखिलस्य प्रसिद्ध विश्वेश्वरी पाहि विश्वं त्वमेश्वरी देवी चराचरस्य। भारत भूमि यह देवभूमि है, यह सनातन की भूमि है। इस धरा पर कोई भी कार्य की शुभता की शुभारंभ वैदिक मंत्र से, शंखनाद से और मंत्रों के आशीर्वाद से शुभारंभ होता है। आज इस कार्यक्रम की वैदिक शुरुआत मंत्रोच्चार के द्वारा मैं आचार्य शैलेश तिवारी वैदिक तांत्रिक, अब शंखनाद के द्वारा इस कार्यक्रम का व्यवहारिक रूप से शुरुआत किया जाता है।
Celeste will now put a tilak on our chief guest. Indresh ji, may I request you to please come here, please. A big round of applause, everybody, for Mr. Celeste ji.
शेषन मोहिनी मारोनमाल भूषाम्बराम जपा कुसुम्बा सुराम जप विधो अश्वरंदिकाम। इंद्रेश जी को माँ भगवती त्रिपुर सुंदरी राज राजेश्वरी दीर्घायु रखे, स्वस्थ रखे, आरोग्य युक्त रखे और इसी तरह ऊर्जावान रखे, ताकि भारत की सनातन संस्कृति की रक्षा और सेवा पूरी दुनिया में करें। आज बहुत प्रसन्नता होती है जब इंद्रेश जी नेपाल जाते हैं, वहाँ पशुपतिनाथ जी का रुद्राभिषेक करते हैं और एक 18 वर्ष का जिस तरह युवा की शक्ति होती है, उस तरह पूरे दुनिया में सनातन का परचम लहराते हुए जय घोष करते हैं। यह बहुत आनंदित चीज है। मैं माँ त्रिपुर सुंदरी राज राजेश्वरी से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि आदरणीय इंद्रेश जी को इसी तरह ऊर्जावान, आभावान और मन में एक शक्ति सनातन की भरे, ताकि दुनिया में सनातन की झंडा को बुलंद करे। इंद्रेश जी व्यक्तिगत रूप से एक ऐसे पवित्र आत्मा है, इनके मन के अंदर हमेशा देश की भक्ति और अखंड भारत का मन में सपना है। मैं माँ त्रिपुर सुंदरी से यह प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि इनका जो मन में एक आशा है कि अखंड भारत मतलब पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश भारत में मिल करके अखंड भारत बने, पीओके भारत में बने, इनके आयु रहते यह हो, यही कामना। ओम शांति 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 शांति।
आचार्य सुरेश तिवारी जी, हमारे माननीय बलिया के एमपी वीरेंद्र सिंह जी, he has been 5 terms MP.
लक्ष्मी पापात्मनम कृतधियाम हृदय बुद्धि श्रद्धा शताम कुलजन प्रभुवश्य लज्जा त्वं ताम अस्म परिपालय विश्वम। मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुड़ध्वज मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्षः मंगलाय तनोहरि। ओम कर्पूरगौरम करुणावतारम संसार सारम भुजगेन्द्रहारम सदा वसंतम हृदयारविंदे भवम भवानी सहितम नमामि। पापोहम पाप कर्माहम पापात्मः पाप संभवा त्राहिमम पार्वतीनाथ सर्व पापो हरो मम। वीरेंद्र सिंह मस्त जी, अब आप बलिया के लिए कुछ बेहतर करें। पूरी दुनिया में बलिया का एक नया प्रादुर्भाव के रूप में हुआ है 1942 की, जिस प्रकार जगदीश्वर निगम जी ने देशभक्ति की बिगुल फूकी थी, उस बिगुल को आप आगे बढ़ाते हुए बलिया को पूरे दुनिया में एक नया पहचान दे, यही कामना। जय।
पूरा संसार यहाँ आया हुआ है। मैं जय भारत कहूँगा, आप जय जगत कहिए।
Yes,
जय भारत,
जय जगत।
Madani, you called Mother Earth, Madani country.
This is for all the
जय
countries.
भारत, इसलिए all are in this slogan.
For the whole world.
For the whole. जय भारत,
जय जगत,
जय भारत,
जय जगत।
So salute to everybody and welcome to everybody and respect for everybody.
Good morning, everyone. What a pleasure to be here this morning, this Sunday rainy morning with all of you in this beautiful, well-designed event. The rains have added a lot of energy, and I must say it has made the whole even more auspicious for this wonderful occasion. Let me start with 2 lines कि सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा, हम बुलबुले हैं इसकी, ये गुलसिता हमारा. Well, these two lines, they speak enough about our love, passion, our enthusiasm, our deep interest for the nation all the time. And trust me, I'm so happy, I'm so charged with new energy today on this beautiful day when we all are celebrating the 75th year of our independence, especially, I must say, the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the wonderful name which has been given by our Honorable Prime Minister for this whole year, actually. And this is the time when we are thinking, not only thinking, but are extending our gratitude, our thanks to each and everyone who has added to the glow of this nation. This is the only country where people have actually not only considered the earth as Mother Earth, but also our own country as Bharat Mata. I think we are the only one who believes that the country is like a Bharat Mata. And I'm so happy that in this series, our dearest two charming, smart ladies, Raj Darbari and Janis Darbari, also decided to pay their gratitude by actually releasing this wonderful book today, The Administrator. Well, my dear friends, the fact is that books are the best companion. This is what I have always believed. And once written, then it becomes history. That book becomes a history. And I have always believed that if a house doesn't have a book, then that house is something like a dead body without soul. And I'm so happy that these two dynamic ladies decided to unfold some of the most remarkable stories. I cannot forget that day when respected Sheila Darbari was there at my office, and she started narrating some of the wonderful stories pre-independence. When I heard all those stories, I couldn't resist, and I requested Janis Darbari to, why don't you put and write all these stories and make a book? And very sarcastically, she said, this is what I'm doing. And I noticed her reaction that I am too late to suggest her that time. By that time, actually, they had already started writing the book. Both the sisters have done a commendable job. And I'm very happy today, the day has come when this all efforts, all those stories which been actually lying in a store of respected Sheila Darbari, they have been unfolded and they are right here on the paper, creating today the history and unfolding some very important part of Indian history today. And I'm so thankful that we have with us no other than the great Indian leader, our respected Indresh ji, and also the Member of Parliament of Ballia right here with us. Let's give a big hand to both the leaders in a big way. Well, I will not take much time because enough time has been invested earlier. But I can only say that yes, Raj Darbari and Janis Darbari has done a commendable job. And trust me, this book is going to give you something very unique out of the history. And this is one book which is going to give you that how Indian flag has got 5 colors. Now you'll be surprised, 5 colors. This is we always been talking about tricolors. Yes, we have saffron, we have white, we have green. But just get into the flag, observe it, you will find the Ashoka Chakra is blue. But then where is the 5th color? You have to be a little more observant. You have to be a little more sharper in your vision, my dear friends. Please look deep into this Indian flag and you will find this red color, the spots of that blood, which has been shed by all our great leaders in actually achieving and getting this beautiful country a wonderful independence. That red color, please look into the flag, and that red color you're going to see after reading this book. Thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Sorry, I would love to finish with 2 lines. कि जिस ओर चले हम मस्ती में झुक जाए उधर अंबर भूतल, आजाद वतन के वाशिंदे, हर गीत हमारा है बादल, विविध प्रांत है अपनी अपनी भाषा के अभिमानी हम, लेकिन सबसे पहले दुनिया वालों हिंदुस्तानी हम. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Very beautifully said. It unites India and it unites the world. My dear friends, Indreshji, Manya Indreshji, a member of parliament, and from our galaxy of ambassadors, I would like all of you to please kindly join us in lighting the lamp. Excellencies, please kindly join us in lighting the lamp. This is truly Vasudev Kutumbakam. Where is the, can we, candle, yeah, Bubbly, where's the candle? Candles here, yeah, sorry. ज्योति से ज्योत जलाते चलो,
बहाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जलाते चलो और प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो.
तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृत सदगमय. मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुड़ध्वज मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्ष मंगलाय तनोहरि. ओम हिरण्यवर्णाम हरिणीं स्वन्दरस्रजां चंद्रां हिरण्मयीं लक्ष्मी जात वेदो म आवह. तामह जात वेदो लक्ष्मीमनुपगामिनीं यस्यां हिरण्यं बिन्देहं गामश्वः पुरुषानहम्. अश्पूर्वां रथमध्यं हस्तिनाद प्रबोधनीं श्रियां देवीमुपवे श्रीमां देवीजुस्तां. कामसो अस्मितां हिरण्यप्रकरमद्रां ज्वलन्तीं तृप्तां तर्पयन्तीं पद्मे सदां पदमर्णां तामिहोपवे श्रियं. चन्द्रं प्रभास्यां श्यां ज्वलन्ति श्रियं लोके देवजुष्टामुदारां तां पद्मानीं शरणं प्रपद्ये अलक्ष्मीस्तां त्वां विनोमि. वंदे वंदे भारत माता की, भारत माता की. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःख भाग् भवेत्. विश्व में शांति हो, विश्व में शांति हो, विश्व में शांति हो.
All those who have a book in their hands, which is covered, Excellencies, kindly stand in the front here. Please, we request your presence in the opening of the book, at the releasing of the book.
And now we are going to do the presentation of the book. And now that it's officially released for the public, we hope everybody gets to know everything about the documents and what exactly happened. It's actually a very big scoop.
The book release ceremony occurred. बलिया क्रांति ब्रिटिश हुकूमत के लिए बगावत थी, हिंदुस्तान के लिए ये रेवोल्यूशन था. इट इज़ नॉट ए विद्रोह, दगा बेईमानी नहीं थी. इट इज़ एन ऑनेस्टी, इट इज़ एन कमिटमेंट, इट इज़ एन करेक्टर. इसलिए बागी बलिया नहीं, क्रांतिकारी बलिया, रेवोल्यूशनरी बलिया. ये जो पुस्तक लिखी गई, जो सोल जिसने ये पुस्तक लिखने में काम किया, शीला दरबारी, द डॉटर ऑफ जगदीश्वर निगम, वो नहीं है. इसलिए उनको हम अपनी श्रद्धांजलि भी देते हैं और सदा याद में रहें इस कामना के साथ. और उनकी बेटियां, वो सामने हैं, हम दोनों के दाएं और बाएं. जुड़वा नहीं है पर लगती जुड़वा जैसी ही है. तो इन्होंने जो एक ग्रेट वर्क किया, नॉन हिस्ट्री इन राइटिंग लाई. When knowledge came in writing, it becomes and a अमर. फिर ये अमर हो जाता है, जिसको मारा नहीं जा सकता. इसलिए हिस्ट्री ये अमृत तत्व के रूप में मानी जाती है. ज्ञान भी अमृत तत्व माना जाता है. इसलिए ये फॉर्म चेंज करता है पर मृत्यु को कभी प्राप्त नहीं होता. तो इस पुस्तक का एक जॉइंटली हम सब ने रिलीज़ किया है. आई होप सो इवेंट इज सो लकी. Not only the Bharatiya or Indians, they released the book, but the world saluted the sacrifices. So for that I congratulate and say thanks to all of you. Now we will proceed with the next program. यानी आगे जाएंगे. पर मैं इतना ही कहूँगा कि 1857 to 1947 90 वर्ष का जो आज़ादी का इतिहास है, केवल स्लोगन्स में बोलता हूँ. 1857 में स्लोगन लगा था, हम अपना भारत नहीं देंगे, और उसको सिंबलाइज किया था रानी झांसी ने, मैं अपनी झांसी नहीं दूंगी. फिर नारा लगा 1858 में, फिरंगी मारो देश बचाओ आज़ादी लाओ. तो अंग्रेज जो थे, ब्रिटिशर्स, यहाँ की लोकल भाषा में उनको फिरंगी कहते थे. फिरंगी का अर्थ होता है जो थोड़ा इनह्यूमन इन बिहेवियर्स हो, जो कुटिल लोग हों. तो ये नारा लगा था, फिरंगी मारो देश बचाओ आज़ादी लाओ. यानी शैतान से, कुटिलता से, अत्याचारी से मुक्ति. फिर आगे बढ़े तब फ्रीडम मूवमेंट में 3 मूवमेंट आई. एक सन्यासी मूवमेंट थी, एक मलंग मूवमेंट थी, फकीर मूवमेंट, और एक बनवासी मूवमेंट थी. इनका नारा था, फिरंगी भगाओ. भुरेटिया ये बोलते थे, जो भूरे रंग के हैं, लाल रंग के हैं. तो इसलिए उस समय में एक नारा वंदे मातरम आया सन्यासी मूवमेंट से, और जनजातियों और आदिवासियों का नारा था, भुरेटिया नी मानू रे, नी मानू रे. हम भुरेटियों को नहीं मानते हैं, वो हिंदुस्तान छोड़कर चले जाए. उस पर भी जुल्म हुए। फिर हमारा फ्रीडम मूवमेंट आगे बढ़ा और इसी फ्रीडम मूवमेंट में फिर एक नया नारा आया, स्वदेशी अपनाएंगे विदेशी को मार भगाएंगे। नो प्लेस फॉर द फॉरेनर्स, नॉट ऑल फॉरेनर्स बट द एग्रेसर्स बार द इन्वेडर्स। जो इन्वेडर्स फॉरेनर्स हैं, देयर इज नो प्लेस इन दिस नेशन, आइदर दे लिव विद पीस आइदर दे शुड लीव द कंट्री। तो स्वदेशी अपनाएंगे विदेशी को भगाएंगे। फिर हमारा फ्रीडम मूवमेंट आगे बढ़ा तो फिर एक नया नारा और लगा। उस नारे का नाम था, स्वतंत्रता हमारा जन्मसिद्ध अधिकार है, हम इसको लेकर रहेंगे। फ्रीडम इज आवर बेसिक ह्यूमन राइट, इट इज आवर बेसिक कैरेक्टर। मैन शुड फील फ्री, ही शुड नॉट बी स्लेव, ही शुड नॉट बी टॉर्चर्ड। तो इसलिए हमारा नारा था, स्वतंत्रता हमारा जन्मसिद्ध अधिकार है, हम इसको लेकर रहेंगे। फिर फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल आगे बढ़ा, जान हथेली पर रखकर फांसी चढ़ना, या फांसी चढ़ाए जा रहे हैं तो उसका नारा था इनकलाब जिंदाबाद। यानी वी विल गो टू द एक्सटेंट कि मौत भी हमें पराजित नहीं कर सकती, हम मौत से लड़ेंगे और अपनी आज़ादी लेकर रहेंगे। तो इनकलाब जिंदाबाद। फिर उससे आगे बढ़े तो फिर नारा आया, क्विट इंडिया, अंग्रेजों भारत छोड़ो। फिर लास्ट स्लोगन था, तुम मुझे खून दो मैं तुम्हें आज़ादी दूंगा, जय हिंद। अंग्रेज बांट कर चला गया, फिर ये हिंदुस्तान आगे ना टूटे, पटेल आए और उन्होंने एक हिंद बनाया। तो ये हमारी 90 साल की नारों के साथ फ्रीडम मूवमेंट की हिस्ट्री है। उसी में बलिया आता है। जब मेन आएंगे बोलने वाले तो बलिया की स्ट्रगल को बताएंगे। अप्रोक्सीमेटली इन दिस 90 years from 1857 to 1947 we laid 327,000 people, those who have been killed by the Britishers. We sacrificed 327,000 people of the nation, those who laid down their lives in the love of motherland, in the love of independence, in the love of respect. स्वाभिमान के लिए, सम्मान के लिए, स्वतंत्रता के लिए, भारत माता के लिए। और इसका एक ही लाइन कहकर इस समय बुक रिलीज सेरेमनी को कंप्लीट करूंगा। वो ये था, हिंदुस्तान में ये धारणा है, देश के लिए मरना इट लीड्स टू हेवन, इट लीड्स टू जन्नत, इट लीड्स टू स्वर्ग। जो देश के लिए मरता है, ईश्वर, परमात्मा, गॉड, अल्लाह, खुदा, वाहेगुरु, उसको सीधा अपने पास ले लेते हैं, वो स्वर्ग में जाता है। तो दिस ग्रेट सैक्रिफाइसिंग स्पिरिट फ्रॉम गीता, दोज हु डाइज फॉर द नेशन और दो डाइज फॉर द करेक्टर, दे ऑलवेज लीड टू हेवन। उन सबको हेवन में जगह देते हैं ईश्वर। इसलिए हमने इन सब अत्याचारों के विरुद्ध अपना ये स्वतंत्रता संग्राम लड़ा। तो इसलिए चित्तू पांडे, उस समय के कमिश्नर जगदीश्वर निगम, हु रिवोल्टेड अगेंस्ट द ब्रिटिश रूल, जबकि वो अपॉइंटेड ब्रिटिश रूलर से थे, तो उन्होंने वो स्वाभिमान, लव फॉर द नेशन, लिव फॉर द नेशन, डाई फॉर द नेशन एंड डू फॉर द नेशन, यह जो स्पिरिट थी, उस स्पिरिट की यह पुस्तक जीती जागती कहानी है। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ आई से नमस्ते टू ऑल ऑफ यू विद ऑल फोल्डेड हैंड।
We now would request our Member of Parliament just a few words.
हमारे मार्गदर्शक माननीय इंद्रेश जी,
उपस्थित सभी देवियों सज्जनों, मुझे गर्व है कि आज जिस ऐतिहासिक पुस्तक का विमोचन हो रहा है वो कभी डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट बलिया के होते थे, जगदीश्वर निगम जी, उनके संबंध में। इसके पहले माननीय इंद्रेश जी ने बहुत विस्तार से आज़ादी के, भारत की आज़ादी की लड़ाई के संदर्भ में आप लोगों से निवेदन किया। आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव पूरे देश में, पूरे भारत के लोग दुनिया में मना रहे हैं। 75 साल हो गए देश को आज़ाद हुए। मुझे गर्व इस बात का है कि मैं उसी बलिया से सांसद हूँ। उसके पहले मैं भदोही से सांसद होता था। भाई इंद्रेश जी मुझे वहाँ आदेश किए थे। मैं 1991 से अयोध्या आंदोलन के समय मैं कार्यकर्ता था, इनके मार्गदर्शन में कार्य करता था। तब से मैं भदोही में सांसद था। वो भी ऐतिहासिक जगह है। 22 लोगों ने देश की आज़ादी के लड़ाई के लिए 1857 में कच्ची फांसी पर झूल गए थे भदोही में। और बागी बलिया भी ऐतिहासिक जगह है। देश 1947 में आज़ाद हो गया, लेकिन बलिया 1942 में ही आज़ाद हो गया था। उस समय निगम साहब वहाँ के डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट होते थे। खुशी इस बात का है कि जिस जिला के 1942 के आज़ादी के समय जिला अधिकारी, आज कहते हैं डीएम होते थे, उसी का वर्तमान में आज़ाद होने के बाद 75वीं वर्षगांठ की आज़ादी हम लोग मना रहे हैं। तो इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित है अदिति सिंह, वही बलिया की भी डीएम होती। थोड़ा खड़ा तो हो जाओ। वहाँ की डीएम होती थी अभी 2 महीने पहले तक। ये भी ऐतिहासिक क्षणों में अपने को भागीदार बना रही है, तो इसको भी मैं बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ। कभी निगम साहब उस कुर्सी पर होते थे, अभी 2 महीने पहले जब आज़ादी का महोत्सव मना रहा जाती, ये भी वहाँ के जिला अधिकारी होती थी। ये भी एक ऐतिहासिक क्षण है। मैं निवेदन करूँगा कि अभी माननीय इंद्रेश जी कह रहे थे कि आज़ादी के लड़ाई के दिनों में नारा लगता था, स्वदेशी अपनाओ विदेशी भगाओ। मैं प्रार्थना करूंगा ये कोको कोला का जो बोतल है, इस मन से हटा दिया जाता तो बड़ी कृपा होती है। आज़ादी के महोत्सव, आज़ादी के 75वीं वर्षगांठ पर हम लोग कम से कम ये तो संकल्प कर ले कि कोको कोला का हम लोग बहिष्कार करेंगे। ये सब लोग सहमत है इस बात से ना? सब लोग हाथ तो उठा दो पहले तो। इस आज़ादी के लड़ाई में सब लोग सहमत है। अदिति तुम सहमत हो ना?
We can have coconut milk, coconut water and badam milk.
दूसरी बात मैं अपनी बात कह के पूरा करूंगा। जिस बलिया से मैं हूं, मंगल पांडे 1857 के आंदोलन का नेतृत्व किए थे। 1942 के आंदोलन का नेतृत्व किए थे जयप्रकाश नारायण। मैं उसी गांव का रहने वाला। मैं उनके राष्ट्रीय स्मारक का, उसका जो ट्रस्ट है उसका चेयरमैन भी हूँ। और आप लोगों से निवेदन करूँगा, 11 अक्टूबर को जन्म जयंती उनकी होती है, हम बड़ा धूमधाम से मनाते हैं। आप लोग भी चलेंगे तो बड़ी कृपा होगी। बलिया ऐसी भूमि है कि तमाम प्रकृति के कठिनाइयों को सहते हुए राष्ट्र के लिए समर्पित होती है। मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा निगम साहब के परिवार के लोगों को कि आप लोग भी निगम साहब जैसे भारत भूमि के पुत्र होते हुए, भूमिपुत्र होते हुए, उन्होंने ब्रिटिश शासन को बता दिया था कि मैं तुम्हारा डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट हूँ तुम्हारे शासन का, लेकिन पहला कर्तव्य में है कि भारत पुत्र हूँ मैं। और उन्होंने उस समय बता दिया था। आप लोग भी पुत्री धर्म का निर्वाह कर रहे हैं इस पुस्तक की रचना करके। उन्होंने पुत्र धर्म का निर्वाह किया था, भारत भूमि के पुत्र धर्म का निर्वाह किया था कि देश की आज़ादी के लड़ाई में एक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर होते हुए भूमिका का निर्वाह किया था। आप लोग उनके इतिहास को संजो कर देश को 75वीं आज़ादी के वर्षगांठ पर बताकर पुत्री धर्म का निर्वाह कर रहे हैं। और मैं निवेदन करूंगा सब लोगों से
कि देश की आज़ादी की लड़ाई में बलिया की क्या भूमिका रही है, इस बात को इससे विस्तार से आपको जरूर मिलेगा। और मैं एक निवेदन करता हुआ अपनी बात पूरी करूंगा कि इस पुस्तक का हिंदी एडिशन भी जरूर बन जाए, जिससे देश के लोगों को और भी पढ़ने की और जानने की सुविधाएं प्राप्त हो। यहाँ बैठे हुए बहुत सारे लोग हिंदी के विद्वान हैं और ये कर सकते हैं। आप लोग स्वदेशी स्वावलंबन और भारत भूमि के स्वाभिमानी समाज का इस आज़ादी के अमृत महोत्सव पर उनका स्वागत करेंगे। देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने अपने उद्बोधन में देश के आज़ादी के अमृत महोत्सव मनाने का जो फैसला किया है, देश के नागरिकों से निवेदन किया है कि हर घर पर तिरंगा रहे। तिरंगा झंडा हमारे लिए स्वाभिमान है और वही तिरंगा झंडा भारत की सनातन परंपरा को, भारत के सनातन सभ्यता को, सनातन संस्कृति को सुरक्षित रखता है। मैं अपना निवेदन समाप्त करता हूँ।
By clapping, we will welcome the power transferred by the Jagdishwar Nigam to the great soul Chittu Pandey, the independent Balia के first ruler बने for some days. His grandson Janendra Pandey is there. Where is Janendra Pandey?
Janendra Pandey, please come forward. He is the grandson of Chittu Pandey. I must say that we have met today, and his grandfather and my grandfather, both of them were instrumental in raising the flag of India on 19th August 1942. Pandeyji, please come and sit here. Please.
The date was of that freedom is 19 and 20, in between August 1942, that Balia got independent, declared independent. And 3 and 4 September 1942, again Balia recaptured by the British Army. So in that period, there was a great cruel bloodshed by the British Army. People hanged, people shooted, people crushed. So it was a cruel face of humanity and the ruler. So our great political leader, member parliament, he told that thing, in which he also done a one job. विदेशी भगाओ स्वदेशी लाओ, तो इसलिए उन्होंने he given a message, please remove this coke, it is also a foreigner. So the coke has been removed from the, now it will be placed by the coconut water. It will be replaced by the coconut water. It doesn't mean there should not be a business on the international level. Exchange of the goods, it is an human character, or it should be. But the exchange of things, it should not be changed into the crushing, into the slavery. As today the world is seeing that China is threatening everybody. We are not disrespecting China, but question is also there. Why China is capturing Xinjiang? Why is ruling Tibet? Why China is ruling the parts of Mongolia and Kamchuria? Why he is
anti to the freedom of Taiwan, independence of the Taiwan. Why he is anti to the Hong Kong freedom? Why he is anti to the sea route, business sea route, trade sea route, and calling it Dakshini China? Why China is or shaking Sri Lanka and destroyed the Sri Lanka character? That's freedom, independence, their economy, it has been shaken. So what we should think of that? Not as a critic, not as a hatredness, as a humanity, world brotherhoodness, independence for every country, every society, every civilization is the basic human character, basic human right. If anybody crush that, if we remain silent, it means we are also with the crime, with the invaders. So it should not be. Parantu in a civilized manner, resistance to the anti-human, anti-secular, anti-democrat and anti-independence, it should be. The China created one virus, COVID-19, then Corona. Approximately 80 lakh people of the world, he eat it, died. Every country of the world which lost so many people, either in hundreds or thousands or in lakhs, is it should be a character of the world? Any country from his science and knowledge creates a virus or which killed humanity and which eat human beings, that it should be rethought. The celebrating of independence of the Bharat, it is the biggest message for the humanity, for the world. Aggressors, invaders, killers, they should be respected or they should be taught a lesson. So Bharat fought. First aggressor on the Bharat war, approximately 3,000 years before, Unani, Roman, Greek. After 2,000 years before, again there is a group of invaders, aggressor, Shak, Hun, etc. Again, 1500 years before, there is one group of aggressor, invaders towards Bharat, the British, French, Portuguese, etc. Then, approximately 1,000 years, again a new aggressors came, Mongolian, Mughal, Turk, Tartar, etc. We fought against all of them to save the humanity. Or for that we paid too much. The world knows. And world should respect all that. So I appeal to the world gentry, not for criticism, not for hatredness, but for the protection of values of the humanity. We should think that and we should comment that. We can appeal to the people. We don't want war, we want peace. We don't want hatredness, we want love. We don't want destruction, we want development. We don't want pollution, we want environment. So cooperation at the world level and cooperation at the local level. world and our nation. It is multi-caste and sub-caste. It is multi-religious and sub-religions. The world is of multi-language and dialects. World is of and Bharat is of multi-civilization and multi-cultures, multi-dress code, multi-atmospheric conditions, multi-behaviors. The multiplicity don't say that we should quarrel. Multiplicity says honor all the multiplicities, all the varieties. These are not the conflicts. These are the fragrance, beauty and light of the world.
Indreshi, that is so beautifully put.
So by that I conclude the speech period. If any was left, they can speak to that. Because there is a basic need. The PPT on this book, which will tell the story. So ultimately the message of the celebration, not riots, not crimes, not death, not war, peace, love, development and progress, healthy and happy society from person to the world. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, Indreshi. It's been so wonderful that you've spoken so beautifully about world peace. And now as we move on to the PPT, first of all, we would like to thank our parents who have guided us and our grandfather. With us here, we also have a part of the Nigam family. They all come together on stage at the end of the program. And before that, this is my mother, Sheila Darbari, who most of you are familiar with. And without her, this book would not have been conceptualized. In fact, it had been lost in history. And it was the people of Ballia, Virendra Singh ji. It was the people of Ballia who actually rang us up and asked us that, is your mother the daughter of Mr. Jagdishwar Nigam? And that's how it all started. Indreshi, you know, when you met Mummy, it was a time when she was writing the book. And she had looked at you and said, Janice, he is a social worker, a man with the grassroots. I see Nanaji's spirit. So Indreshi, you have my grandfather's spirit in you. And as this book was put together, our father, he was also a part of the freedom movement. In fact, he was on the famous day of August 8th. He was in Mumbai. He was with the famous singers. Mukesh. Yeah. And they used to all practice the songs together. And when they were practicing songs, Azadi ki sab songs were there. And which one is it that you want to sing?
No, we just wanted to pay a little bit tribute. Siddharth, can we have you on stage? Because a lot of people died for this freedom struggle. And there's two lines which I would like just to sing, just to give them a tribute. Also, along with Jagdishwar Nigam and my father, who had lathi charges on his back, he says. But it was not too bad, he kept saying. Can we start with this, "Eh Mere Watan Ke Logo"? I would love you all to sing with us so that we can at least say thank you to all of those in our own way. Hey mere watan ke logo. Can you sing?
दो पानी जो शहीद हुए हैं उनकी जरा याद करो कुर्बानी ऐ मेरे वतन के लोगों जरा आँख में भर लो पानी जो शहीद हुए हैं उनकी जरा याद करो कुर्बानी.
Thank you. Now we would like to proceed. We have a very special guest which we have on the screen, and I'm sure it's going to take you
with surprise. Have a look at it.
You know, as we were writing this book, I had a number of visitors, and one of them, she was from Ireland. And in fact, Dolly Saran, are you here? Where are you? Yeah, you please come forward. It was the artificial intelligence which has helped us to connect with our grandfather. So our very, very special guest, can we have our grandfather speak to us?
Yes.
God bless you, Dolly Sharan, founder AI Alchemy, and Nikita Venkatesh, co-founder and CTO AI Alchemy, to help me interact with the audience here in the year 2022. I am happy to see all my children gathering here on the occasion of the book launch. My daughter Sheila Darbari has brought you the untold story, The Administrator. I could see the excitement in my granddaughters Janice Dharbari and Raj Dharbari faces. Now the stage is all yours. Let me relax with a cup of tea and watch the event. God bless all my children. Jai Hind. Vande Matram.
This is how the world is connecting. We can connect with the souls and the super souls. In fact, when I look at this, I have never met my grandfather. So for me, it was like, Nanu, wherever you are, I salute you.
I guess I was the only lucky one where my hands were held by him, because she wasn't born then.
She was born in New Delhi and I was born in America. So it so happened that she had the luck of my grandfather's blessing, but I carried the spirit with me, because my mother, she has always taught us the values of life. Now, let us have a very, very thrilling personality. Here we have Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. When I sent him the book, I must say, he knew his father, knew my grandfather. So we were reconnecting. And it is a very beautiful message he has sent. And I would like you all to read it. He says, recognizing that nationalism does not mean discrimination against people of a different nationality, but simply not allowing such people to seize our political power. It is important, for only when we are in control politically do we have a nation. My sincere congratulations at the release of your book, The Administrator. Thank you for inviting me for the release on the 7th. But due to his prior commitment, all of you are watching Kaun Banega Crorepati. He's busy with those serials. So he said, Janice, go ahead. Your grandfather, the revered Sri Jagdishwar Nigam, played a pivotal role in the Quit India movement, which was an important milestone in the India freedom struggle. Your elucidation of the real story of the August Kranti Divas is very enlightening and inspirational.
Politics and having the opportunity to serve others or have their voices heard is something today's youth should not want to miss. This book will make it more relevant to them and encourage them to be deeply invested in their culture and the creation for a better India, new, innovative, and progressive. My best wishes for the success of this publication.
As you all are aware, during the freedom struggle, we had great poets, and it was their poetry which gave a lot of courage to a lot of people. It touched their soul. In fact, my grandmother, Saraswati Nigam, she grew up with the famous writer, Subhadra Kumari Chauhan. And since there were stories of Rani of Jhansi and my Nana, he was born in Buldelkhand, a small little town called Moranipur. And there the whole spirit of Rani of Jhansi was full swing on. So you can imagine, when he was 7 years old, he decided, when his father, an ordinary person, a reader in the court, used to take him there and say, my dear son, this is what happens. And he used to look at the judge and say, Papa, one day I'll be sitting there. And that's exactly what he did.
And then his father
asked him, how will you do
it?
And he said, मैं इतना पढ़ूंगा कि सबको पिछाड़ दूंगा. That is the spirit of freedom of a young boy. At the age of 7.
That means I will study so hard, that I will leave everybody else behind, and I will bring the justice to my country. Now, when a 7-year-old child speaks that, that's when the beginning of a national spirit gets born in the child. So,
and as we actually moved on, we had Farah Khan, and she said, Janice, we were just talking, and she said, send me a copy of the book. Then she read it, and she said, Farah Khan incidentally happens to be a very famous filmmaker, a producer in Bollywood, and she choreographs a lot of dances. So she said, you know what? This movie is a thriller. This book is a thriller. It's a historical thriller. The drama in the book, which you have brought forward through the concept of what? Guess what? Something I'm going to show you. And that we'll talk about a bit later. There has to be the mystery, which is going to unfold. And then as we move along from Bollywood, there is a very special friend sitting in the audience. Let's have the next slide. You know, when Farah Khan read the book, she said, I can't believe it, this happened in 1942. And she wants to come. This is a friend from Nagaland. He's 103 years old. And when he read the book, he sent us a message. You can see the book is already making graves. Please put it on.
Today, at this book releasing ceremony, I and my father salute the outstanding contribution of Mr. Jagdishwar Nigam for our country. I invited the author of the book to visit my village where Netaji and INA Memorial is going to be built. Jai Hind.
Incidentally, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose also gave the exam for the I.C.S. So my grandfather knew him also. And the story is long, but the book will disclose. And of course, Excellency, the Ambassador of Bosnia and Herzegovina, may I just request you for a few seconds aside? Is very special to us. As Mummy passed away as duration before the book could get published, he went with us to Haridwar.
Yes. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Yeah. So, from that, even from before, I felt that.
Mic closer. Mic should be closer.
That Sheila Darbari and her daughters are so close to Bosnia and to this part of the world since they lived for some period of time there, and
Yugoslavia.
They still love this region, I can tell, and its people here. So I felt obliged to return their love to us. So they were always, and they still can count on me and our friends from the region. You know.
Our bonding with Yugoslavia goes way back when my father was posted in Belgrade as a trade representative from the government of India to solve a lot of problems which were there between India and Yugoslavia for 6 years. And since then, we have traveled the terrain and we have made a lot of friends. And believe me, you must visit Bosnia, Herzegovina, Slovenia, Macedonia. What else have I left out? Albania. And Serbia, because all of it is so beautiful. And let me tell you one secret. They have very good cheese. It's called Sir. You must try that with Kaimak.
Now you know the world is very, very small. It's very similar, right?
Yes, and let me just continue where you stopped telling the audience about the child. When your grandfather was a child and when he decided to spend the rest of his life struggling for justice and freedom. So his daughter was first real Indian that I met, and she was always smiling. Yeah. She was a smiling side of India. So everything has two sides. What would be the other side of India? It is also smiling. This gentleman, Nigam, he is smiling on this photo, and this photo is taken by his daughter, Sheila Darbari. And and she was 14 years old at that time, as I remember.
Absolutely right, absolutely right.
So her father, when he was young, decided to struggle for justice, for freedom, and his daughter was obliged to continue that path. And these two ladies are doing the same. So I'm so glad to be here today and to have this book launched, since the father and the mother and grandfather of Janis and Raj were so young when they were so aware that freedom and justice are something that they follow and struggle for the rest of their lives.
Thank you very much, Excellency. I think you have connected with all of us. In fact, all of us sitting out here, you have connected with such strong words of freedom and justice. In fact, we all look forward to strengthening democratic values in the world.
And just to add that I was amazed, maybe I was one of the first readers of this book.
Yes.
When it was almost completed. So I was really amazed. I am still influenced by the way how your grandfather was following this oath that he took that early, you know, and the studying and trying to be better than others and to sit in this chair, in this court, what he finally did, and to struggling to achieve his goal without violence. And he did it, you know. And the first Indian flag that waved in Ballia, he did it without violence. And amazingly, the Britishers, they couldn't do anything against that, and because he knew the procedures, he knew the rules, and he did it everything according the rules they imposed. So this is something that we should follow up and to try to avoid, to achieve the goals and avoid violence as long as we can.
I know, Excellency, just like you said, we had to really search for those orders. And that's what the scoop is all about. We got the orders which my grandfather wrote. And now we would like to request Godfrey, please, a few words. All our friends who are saying a few words, they have read the book and they are sharing their thoughts with you because this book is already making the waves. Everybody's talking about you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I think for the purposes of this event, I'll unyoke myself from the burden of being a Zimbabwean and say, Bharat Mata Ki Jai. And
Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
And allow me to recognize the Chief Guest of Honor, Indresh Kumar Ji. Allow me also to recognize the Member of Parliament for Ballia. Please convey my fraternal greetings to the freedom fighters. You were a trailblazing part of India. You exposed the contradictions and fallacies of the colonial project. You were fighting against the scourge of Nazism, but they were treating you less than. human beings. And we are very proud of your results because those are the ones that brought an independent India that also supported our own freedom struggle for independence. We are eternally grateful. I would like also to recognize my colleagues, ambassadors, excellencies here present, and members of the diplomatic corps. Esteemed guests, I have a friend here. Can I multiply and say friends?
Yes.
Raj and Janis. When they invited me, I did not hesitate. Today, it's Heroes Day in Zimbabwe, so I had to abbreviate my own celebration just to be with you, because I know I value my friendship with you. And your grandfather was a champion for freedom. He knew that bread and butter would make him fat, but freedom would give him eternal happiness. He had a choice. He could have gone conformist. He committed professional suicide, but for the love of his people. And I think this is an example that we all have to emulate. Freedom, freedom, freedom. I thank you so much, Zimbabwe, Hindi, what do you say? Zimbabwe, India, toast hamesha.
हाँ दोस्ती
Thank you so
हमारी
much.
दोस्ती जिंदाबाद
And we salute all the heroes. It's the Heroes Day in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
So thank you very much. In fact, this is very coincidental.
Thank you very much for having me here, and I hope there will be many Balias. I would like to say to the Honorable Member of Parliament for Balia that I'm now the adopted son of Balia. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Rashmi Verma ji, just a few words, please. Please come.
Hi.
Rashmi Verma has been the Cultural Secretary for the Culture Department
And
Tourism. In fact, her husband, Naveen Verma, when we met him, when he was the Secretary of the Northeast, and he interviewed Mummy, and then he said, Mrs. Dabari, you're sitting on history. Come on, share it with the world. And lo and behold, Rashmi, you're here.
Yeah. Honorable Chief Guest of the function today, Honorable Member of Parliament from Balia, all excellencies who are present here, other dignitaries, and my colleagues also from the service, It's a great pleasure to be here today for this absolutely great occasion of the release of this wonderful book, When Raj and Janis came to me and met me when I was Secretary Culture in Government of India and narrated this story and asked me to write the foreword for this book, I immediately said yes. In fact, the story brought goosebumps to me, and I felt that this is a great opportunity to be part of a little small part of the great history which their grandfather had, played, Mr. Jagdishwar Nigam, in fact, was a unique person who played the role of an administrator and a nationalist, all under the British rule, The book has been named administrator very, very ably because he, as a child, resolved to bring justice to the people of the country, and he did it, and he showed it by, hoisting the national flag in the collectorate in 1942, August 1942, and also in the town hall. In fact, he handed over power to Mr. Chittu Pandey, who both of them played a key role in the freedom struggle and the Quit India movement. As the honorable member from Balia has said, that the freedom came to India in 1947, but actually came to Balia in 1942 itself.
Yes.
So that's an event which many of us didn't know about it, and this book will give us a great insight into it. This book is also an inspiration to all administrators like us who face challenge every day. Every day when we have to decide which path to take, the easy one or the right one, So it inspires us to go on the right path and meet the challenge of bringing justice to the people of this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rashmi ji. It's wonderful to have you here once again with all of us. In fact, dynamics and the women who are dynamic. That's what it is, Excellency from Czech. I think you're a woman, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges, and when we see our bureaucrats sitting there and asking us, do you want me to tell that story about the secretary? I won't take his name, but it's a very, very touching story. Me and Janice knew this gentleman for a long time, and he was in the IFS, oh, I won't take his name. But when he became, quite high in the seniority of the ministry, he called us one day about 7 o'clock in the night. He says, can you come? I want to talk to you. So we said, all right, fine. We came, and everybody in the ministry was wondering, what are we doing there so late in the night? But the fact was, he was very, very perturbed, and he said, you know what? My wife has asked me, telling me that I'm almost at the end of my career, and I didn't make any money. I've been an honest officer. But I want to buy that necklace, which is emeralds, and it has diamonds, and it has rubies. So he said, I can't do that. So I said, it's so simple. Just tell her what you're feeling inside your heart, that your national spirit is there first, and that you've never done it, you don't want to do that. And believe me, she will understand. So when he picked up the phone, we said, pick up the phone and just tell her that. So he did that. And she cried at the other end saying, I never knew I was torturing your soul. I want you more than that necklace. And this is what India and bureaucracy is about. Pressures come on them, maybe from the family members, maybe from the higher politicians.
That is definitely in modern India.
Yeah.
Even in the India which Nana lived in, if 100 IC officers had got together, we would have had freedom in 1942. The story is yet to be told.
Yes.
Well, of course, I presented a book to the Honorable Cabinet Minister of External Affairs, and he was too happy to receive it because it's about an administrator. And he also is a fantastic administrator. Now, let us go a little bit further. Sadika? Oh yes, please. I'm going to share a very humorous moment because as you write a book, you come across numerous stories. And my mother, she wanted to break the ice with all of you. If she was alive, she would have definitely just said something like this, that at that time, it was very humiliating to be an officer. Yes, Sadika, please play it.
किसी को बुलाया उन्होंने डांटने के लिए, है? तो कहते हैं कुछ कह डाला, सब कुछ कह डाला उसको. उसके बाद कहते ठहरो, अभी गाली बाकी है, अभी गाली बाकी है, अभी तुम रुको. अपनी किताब निकालता था और फिर सारी गालियां पढ़ के उसको सुनाता था. उल्लू का पाठा, सुअर का बादशाह, क्या क्या नहीं कहता, गधा, बेवकूफ, सब कुछ भर डालता. Now you may go. Dennis is down, you may go. मत लोग थे.
They also were people of style, and they learned all the great words of Indian vocabulary, and they enjoyed it. And when they used it to humiliate the officers, my grandfather used to say, I did not know what to do because I was planning something very big. So now we have the next one, please.
We have Ajay to present his.
Yeah. Ajay, where are you? Ajay Samir? Now, you know, this cover, I'm going to, where is Ajay Samir? Yeah, Ajay, please come forward quickly. Little March, आपका आज़ादी का दिन है. Please bring something which he has done very special out here. We gave him the concept. He developed it. And that's my grandfather he sketched. He sketched Gandhiji. He sketched King George. He sketched Wavell, the commander-in-chief of the army. And Churchill. Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill.
So now where is your artwork? Where is your artwork? Manya Indreshji, please come here for a second. We have a surprise for you. Ajay is a very, very famous creative artist. And I think within a very few days, he had this sketch created. Isn't it a beautiful sketch of his? Yeah, you can stand that side, Tony. In Desh ji, aapne dekha? Woo! Well, Ajay, how long did it take you?
3 days.
3 days. In 3 days, he had it ready for us.
Portrait of इंद्रेश जी और
Explain it a bit.
तरीका है मेरा एक सिग्नेचर स्टाइल है काम करने का पेन एंड इंक ड्राइंग में जी कंफर्टेबल तो वो जो एक टेक्निक है मेरा जो पेन एंड इंक में काम करने का मेरा सिग्नेचर स्टाइल है तो उसी में इंद्रेश जी की पर्सनालिटी को यहाँ डिपिक्ट किया मैंने कि वो किस तरीके से पूरे वर्ल्ड में हमारे जो हिंदू और जो हमारे कस्टम्स हैं और जो हमारी फिलॉसफी ऑफ इंडिया है उसको किस तरीके से उसका परचम लहरा रहे हैं जैसा सर ने भी कहा तो वो इस पेंटिंग में डिपिक्ट होता है.
You're going to have to read the painting. After you read the book, you read the painting. Yeah. Can one of you please come forward to just take the painting, please? Yeah. So how did you like our surprise?
Fine, best.
Thank you. You have to look very deeply. He sketched a lot of people around him, and you can actually see what he's done.
वाजपेयी साहब आए उद्घाटन करने और उसमें से एक पेंटिंग और फिर अपने घर बुलाया उन्होंने पार्टी दी मेरी अच्छा so we don't speak
And now Sagarya, the next.
अच्छा yeah.
Yeah, start. Tony, wait.
Freedom fighters.
Yeah, play it on, play it on. These are all the famous freedom fighters. Some of them, we've been able to capture their pictures. Some of them you'll recognize.
वीरों की धरती, जवानों का देश, बाघी बलिया, उत्तर प्रदेश.
That's the collectorate where the flag was raised, the first flag. Because by the time 25,000 people had assembled in Ballia. And you can imagine the josh.
एक हुजूम था पूरा वहाँ पर लोगों
पूरा
का.
जिसे कहते हैं, they were singing the patriotic songs. झंडा ऊंचा रहे हमारा, विजयी विश्व तिरंगा प्यारा, झंडा ऊंचा रहे हमारा, विजयी विश्व तिरंगा प्यारा, झंडा ऊंचा रहे हमारा, इसकी शान न जाने पाए, चाहे जान भले ही जाए, झंडा ऊंचा रहे हमारा, विजयी विश्व तिरंगा प्यारा, झंडा ऊंचा रहे हमारा. Would you all like to try and sing just 2 lines? If I share it with you, maybe you can. It's Jhanda Ucha Rahe Hamara, Vijayi Vishwa Tiranga Pyara. That's it. So it's Jhanda Ucha Rahe Hamara. Repeat. Jhanda Ucha Rahe Hamara, विजयी विश्व तिरंगा प्यारा, झंडा ऊंचा रहे हमारा. I think all of you can sing it. Come on. It's not just us. Every nation has a beautiful flag and a beautiful history. So to salute to all the heroes today. Please, come on, sing with us. झंडा ऊंचा रहे हमारा, विजयी विश्व तिरंगा प्यारा, झंडा ऊंचा रहे हमारा। जय हिंद, जय हिंद, जय भारत, जय भारत। Now, as we unfold the pages of history, there is a lot more to tell you. And we come to the secrets. These are the confidential reports that the scoop is all about. We have brought it to the world's notice. Khan did endeavor to adapt his actions and orders to the policy which he believed to have been enunciated by the then district magistrate. Their letters to the Home Secretary, Government of United Province. And these letters, we have some in the book, and the rest we're going to do an exhibition to show you the whole file. Of course, when you do such a revolutionary act, you're going to be dismissed. First, Nedasol, the Commissioner of Banaras, he came to Ballia and he said, how did Mr. Nigam do this? How dare he go against my orders? The Britishers had said, shoot at sight. Emergency was promulgated. How did he write on the file? What did he write? He wrote on the file the secret words. Please deposit the government firearms in the Ballia Reserve police lines. And none other than Riaz Uddin Ahmad Khan, the superintendent of police, did a very, very bold act. He said, sir, I salute your nationalism. And then they went, opened the jail gates for Chittu Pandey, my grandfather, by his orders, to please the Britishers and to create the whole effect that everything was in control in Ballia. Because when Nedasol came to Ballia, the story is very interesting. He was there on the 12th of August. And he said, Mr. Nigam, is everything under control? He said, yes, it's under control. Oh, it's under control. Then I can go back. Mr. Nigam, we trust you. Then came Waddell, the Inspector General of Police. He said, Mr. Nigam, you're asking for forces, but we cannot give you these forces. So Mr. Nigam said, sir, we have to control the mob coming in. Well, he was telling him a story. Hello, sir, we have to control the mob. But Mr. Waddell said, Mr. Nigam, since there's no sign out here, I think we shall go ahead. I'm going to go to Banaras. So there was full confidence and there was full trust. And my grandfather said, well, that's good. There were some disturbances. And of course, like the Honorable MP is aware, a lot of, railway tracks were taken off. So they actually did not allow the Britishers to enter Ballia. And when railway stations were burnt and the station master were tied, there's a whole story. My mother was stuck on that train. She was stuck on that train for 3 days. For 3 days and 3 nights.
It was terrifying for her,
and then she told me, she said, you know, Janice, what happened is, when she was narrating it to me in Raj, she said, we were frightened. All the military guys were all around us. And when they were all around us, can you imagine what we did? They would come and ask my grandmother, Mrs. Nigam, because she was known. She was known to give commands. She was tall, beautiful, fair, very, very fair. She dressed extraordinarily well. She used to make all her saris in Banaras. And they were handpicked. And here, she said, my daughter, Sheila, will translate. She bought time. I must say one thing. She was connected with the freedom movement. And when I talked about my nanny, She was a very great inspiring force, and that's why Raj gave the story of a husband and wife. She used to sit down and decipher the ciphers that used to come. They never had these drones, they never had mobiles. They had these small, secret messages coming across, tick, 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 tick. And she could decipher them. She was very intelligent.
They were coded messages,
Yeah.
coded messages.
Coded messages, of course. Everybody out here knows about coded
Now,
messages.
let's tell them about this letter, which is a really...
So when Wavell, first let me tell them one thing. When Wavell decided, he said, if I had my way, I would have shot Mr. Nigam. He was the commander-in-chief. But he knew he couldn't shoot him because Mr. Nigam was on His Majesty's service, an I.C.S. officer of the 1923 batch, which meant a lot. He had 17 years of service. And Riaz-ud-Din Ahmad Khan had 30 years of service. He had the King's Commission. They had posted them both together because both of them never saw eye to eye. And they had hoped if one went against something, the other would shoot him. But it didn't happen. He never got shot, and nor did Mr. Riaz do what the Britishers wanted. And that's how the flag of India flew on the collectorate of my grandfather. So that's a short story. The other documents are all in the book. And this letter, can you imagine 15 people getting together? Wavell made it a personal battle with my grandfather.
That was Janis from the Viceroy Council when Wavell became the Viceroy of India, right? Before Mountbatten. There's a story which we all didn't know, that when Mountbatten was appointed, why he was appointed and why Wavell was dismissed. To bring in the peace, Mountbatten was the cousin of King George. And when Wavell was dismissed, then came in Mountbatten and we got freedom from the British Raj.
And why was he dismissed? One of the reasons was that when Mr. Wavell brought it, Commander-in-Chief of the Army, brought it to the notice of Winston Churchill, then at that time, Winston Churchill said, who is this guy? But Parliament had already started talking about India and the Quit India movement. And this is a very important chapter of history when you start talking about it in Parliament. And to keep things quiet, of course, actually, my grandfather knew him very well because he'd studied in Cambridge. After they did the I.C.S. in India, they went for training for 2 years to UK. And in Cambridge, they were specially trained on various issues of administration. Cambridge used to be affiliated at that time also with Allahabad University. So for our administrators, that's a bit of interesting documents also we have put in, how they were affiliated with India. Allahabad University in UP was at one time called the Oxford of India. So that's how India was at that time in the educational system. And of course, these names which we have here, we have Mr. Oshnik, then he was the commander-in-chief and Wavell became the viceroy. He made it a point. And the first meeting he had was to dismiss him. He said, we have to remove Mr. Nigam. He has heralded in the whole lot of Indian administrators to want to take up arms with us by writing orders like Mr. Nigam did. So he brought in that change of the mindset. And there's a whole section in the book which talks about the struggle of the bureaucracy and how, in fact, somebody came to me and they said, do you know your grandfather figured in 100 Great Men, where one of the chapters was written on him as the bureaucrat who spearheaded the revolution within the bureaucracy. And it was the Britishers who got very frightened of a very combined force of bureaucrats and police force because the military could not put the police into jail. So these are things, these are the fine lines of administration. So that is it. And can we have the next slide, please? Edward Benthal, Sultan Ahmed, Jeremy Reisman, Claude Oshnik, Archibald Wavell, the Viceroy, Reginald Maxwell, Ramaswamy Muralidhar, Firoz Khan Noon, Muhammad Usman, Ivan Jenkins, Ashok Roy, Ezalul Haq, J.P. Srivastav, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Joginder Singh, Dr. N.B. Khare, and John Thorne. These all got together to dismiss him.
The Viceroy Wardwell has been dismissed. I hope no great for Wardwell. He has been the willing or unwilling agent of the government. All the errors and mistakes into which they have been led, and which I have just described, I have no idea why he has been cast aside at this juncture.
That's what happened. And when that happened, there's a replay with artificial intelligence. We're able to rebuild history, and in fact, we've been asked to make a movie, and that's the good news for all of you. We'll be making a movie very shortly, in fact, a feature film. And that's my grandfather. He walks out of the chapters of history into the Azadi Ka Mahotsav, which we celebrate today. And in independent India, he said political freedom is incomplete without the economic freedom. And he worked very hard. In 1948, he was the first revenue secretary. So this is not a story of Qurbani. It's not a story of death, as many people were shot dead trying to raise the flag in 1942. This is a story of success, which we Indians today are celebrating. He was a man with a mission, the Karma Yogi. He bought in the land and labor reforms, abolished the zamindari system. My nanny used to always say, the government worked him, because he was an ace mathematician, and whatever he did, even he could capture the revenue of the whole state in his mind, calculate it, and deliver it. He was a genius. So people like that, the Britishers sought after him, and they really didn't want to dismiss him. They asked him many times, why don't you resign on medical grounds? And he said, no. This is my freedom, my nation, and what you did is not correct. You have to have the guts to live up to principles.
And his slogan was, "Main khoon sani roti nahi khaunga."
That means I will not
eat bread soaked in blood. And that's why he wrote, deposit the guns against the British orders, shoot at sight. No more blood shed. That was his way of bringing in independence in a non-violent manner. It was very difficult at that time, but he did it. He made his dream come true. This is the Revenue Secretary of the United Province in Lucknow. The building which he made or asked for.
No, he renovated it. He renovated it and
became the first
restored a lot of the land reforms and the revenue reforms files, worked them out, mathematics and everything of that sort, and that's how UP's land reforms were brought in. Land and labor reforms. In fact, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who was the president, he asked him to come to the president's house, sit down with him, and help him write the labor reforms for the whole of India, which my grandfather did, and so did Vidhan Chandra Roy. Nina Day? Vidhan Chandra Roy, who was the chief minister of Bengal. In fact, we've written about Bengal and how Bengal actually split into Assam. And the story is there in the book. We've written about from Baghi Ballia to Baghi Assam. We've matched history from the past and brought it to the present, how we've been successful in making accords in India and bringing in peace and living up to all the people of the soil who have laid down their lives.
And the most important part, which we are all experiencing today, is about Kashmir. And in the book, we have broadened that part, which I think most of the youngsters perhaps are not aware, and it'd be nice for them to know, that when Mountbatten became the Viceroy of India, the instrument of succession was signed by Raja Hari Singh, wherein Kashmir actually belonged to India. Now, during the partition at that time, there was Modi, who became the governor of Sindh when India and Pakistan got divided. And
Modi, incidentally, was the chief secretary of UP, and he was very, again, close to my grandfather. Modi, when he was in Kanpur, you read the story in the book, It goes about what he told my grandfather, and then my grandfather told him, well, sir, that's it. What you want will happen. And they moved the industries of UP forward. At that time, you may have heard of the Indigo Revolution, J.P. Srivastava's Victoria Mills in Kanpur, Director of Industries. So a lot of things were happening on one front. Come on.
And then when Modi became the governor of Sindh, Jinnah actually became the Governor General of Pakistan. He never became Prime Minister. So these little things, percolated in our minds, and we said, why he didn't become the Prime Minister of India after there was so much a fight between Nehru and Jinnah? That's what we were told. And then we find out that Modi, as the governor of Sindh, actually asked for the invasion of Kashmir. So on one side we have the king and the cousin of the king, Mountbatten, both of them signing allowing the succession, the instrument of succession by Raja Hari Singh to Kashmir. Then how did the orders come in?
It was the British orders. The British orders followed by 2 British commanders-in-chiefs in Pakistan and in India. And well, the story, no. Let them read the book. I think, Tony, we should have to allow people to read the book. Otherwise, we will tell the story and you will not read the book. So that's as simple as that. And now I would request all the Nigam family who is present here, will you please stand up? Khare, come on. Bubbly. Please come to the stage, all of you. And march quickly, come on. You're the grandchildren of Mr. Nigam.
And Sonu Nigam, where are you? You wanted to say one word?
Where is Sonu Nigam? Will you please bring him fast? I want movement. This is Azadi Ka Mahotsav. Come on. I want something from the Nigam family. Come on, Bubbly, walk fast. Your grandfather's looking at you now. Cuckoo, come on, walk. Honey, is Honey here or has she left? Honey, where are you? Come on, you get up, both of you. This way, come on. This happens to be a branch of Mr. Rajeshwar Nigam. Mr. Rajeshwar Nigam was the son of Jagdishwar Nigam, and he is the son of Rajeshwar Nigam. And in fact, Rajeshwar Nigam participated as a young child of hardly 5 years old, but he could not resist himself. He was in my Nana's house, as in the collector's office, and he found his 2 children missing because they ran into the crowd of the Azadi Ka Mahotsav taking place in Ballia. And they ran and they joined my grandfather, Chittu Pandey, and everybody to raise the flag. So here we have Sonu Nigam, he's with us. And we have Cuckoo. I only know them by their pet names. We have Honey, we have Bubbly, and we have Vasundhara. She's the new addition as a daughter-in-law into the family. And Sonu? You wanted to say a few words?
Oh, I haven't heard much about him. I keep listening to this and inspired by him. But at this juncture, all that I can think of is that when on 20th January 1961, when John Fitzgerald Kennedy, when he spoke to the American people and he said, ask not what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for the country. Probably he was inspired by my grandfathers and his deeds and achievements.
So that's how people feel, they feel it very, very strongly. 1, 2, 3. Jana Gana Mana Adhinayak Jayo Hi Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravid Utkal Banga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Ujjwala Jaladit Ranga शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तब जय गाता जन गण मंगल नायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे Jai! family which raised the first flag of India in 1942. And now we have a huge family from all over the world to join us on this occasion. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all very much.